Hello, welcome to my presentation on simple do-it-yourself mastering. Now, this is my technique that I've just come up with. Might not be the correct way to do mastering, but something that I found worked for me, and it's quite simple. So I'd like to, during the presentation, not take any questions. I'll take any questions you may have afterwards, and I can go back to the appropriate section and go in more detail, cover your question. And then hopefully somebody has some other tips that could add on to this afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, I start out with the mix. I spend most of my time in the mixing stage to get something that sounds nice and clear before going to the mastering, because the mastering isn't going to fix a bad mix. So for me, mastering, I'm just basically doing some EQ tweaks and making a loudness adjustment up to like the streaming service that it's going to go to or the CD. So going to the mix in this is using Logic. I will EQ each separate instrument to balance the instruments so that they complement each other and don't fight with each other, so you can start hearing all the instruments clearly. And so one thing that's really nice with Logic in the Apple EQs, you have a lot of different presets that you can use. So that's what I'm using, is these different presets. So you can be listening to your song in the entire mix, and change these preset EQs for one instrument. So like here that I'm on the kick drum, clean up kick, but if you go to the drums, there's a lot of other kicks that you can try to see how it sounds, like modern kick, low end kick, rock kick drum. If I go over here onto the bass, on this particular song, I use the upright bass, but there is electric jazz bass, slap bass, EQ, different choices that you can, again, listen and see what your ear tells you is right for each particular instrument to try to bring it out better. On the guitar, I've got a bright acoustic guitar, and it's taking out the frequencies in the low end that would maybe muddy up the mix for the bass guitar. So, and then I also do compressing of like the vocals in the mixing stage. So this is TDR, feedback compressor. It's a free plugin by Tokyo Dawn Labs. And I use it on the vocal to cut out the peaks, the voids, distortion. Okay, then when I have it, so everything sounds nice and clear, make sure that the output of the mix that I'm saving is well below the 0 distortion level. So I play the mix, and I try to keep this below any reds, or try to keep it below the yellows, so it's around 3 dBs below 0. That will give you room for the next step in the mastering. So I'll export this out as a mix file and bounce the mix, and I'll do the mastering in a separate file. You can, in Logic, do your mastering in the stereo out area and have all your plugins here. However, I've been using another program that I like a lot better. It's called a DSP Quattro, and it's a Mac only program, but it allows you to see your waveform. You can insert all these plugins in the effect area, and you can have many of them in sequence. So anyway, here's that mix that I was just showing you in Logic, uploaded. And if I go in here processing, I can go find peak in RMS and minus 2.9 dBs below the zero where you start to get distortion. So that's telling me I have plenty of room to do any tweaks on the graphic equalizer. So typically in this stage, I will upload two plugins. So I've got my Apple graphic equalizer, and then this is Voxengo span spectral analyzer that allows you to actually see all the frequencies going through the song. And so you maybe can see areas where you've got a deficiency, where you don't have a lot of output in a certain frequency, that you can do tweaks in the graphic equalizer, and you can hear what those tweaks happen. Like here, you draw the bass way up, and you see the peak go up on the graphic equalizer, drop back down. But anyway, there's some crucial EQ bands. I'll send a link to this little cheat sheet if you want to get more boom in the bass line. It's around 50 to 60 hertz. More punch in the snare, 100 to 200 hertz. If you want to add more warmth and weight to the guitars, piano vocals, 200 to 500. 2 kilohertz gives more bite to guitars and vocals. 5 to 10 is good for top end of the drum, especially the snare. 16 can add some more space and sparkle. So anyway, it's just some minor tweaks. See, I see these are all down below like 3 decibels of a tweak on any of the EQs. Okay. So when I get something that sounds good with a little tweaking, I will again export that out. So you can on this program export the audio file as a wave. And excuse me, first, what I'll first do is do the processing, render, insert effects, and then that will save what you've done, these settings, into another tab. So you can go back and change it later if you want. So so this is after I just rendered those EQs. So originally that was a -3 dB, and afterwards, if you check this peak in RMS, now I'm at -0.8, so I'm close to the top. However, you know, with loudness, you've got your peak loudness, your maximum loudness, and there's RMS average loudness. But what the streaming services use and industry uses now is an LUFS, loudness unit full scale. And it's the maximum level the system can handle. It's an average of the RMS, quantifies perceived loudness, and analyze the average level over time. So it's a much more accurate measure of what you're actually perceiving as loudness. And so there's a free plugin called Ulean loudness meter, and that does this in the LUFS units. The free version, you have this plugin that you can actually play the song through, and you have to play the whole song through to get the actual numbers. But I bought the Pro for $30, and with the Pro, you can actually pull the file in, and it'll just analyze the whole thing without having to actually play the whole song through to the end. And so that's what this is, the Pro version. So So here's the one that was after the EQ tweaks, doing analysis. And it's saying my LUFS is at minus 18. I'll be sending this cheat sheet with the actual loudness readings per service. So typically, most of them, like the Spotify, for instance, it's minus 13 to minus 15 is the range. If you submit something that's louder than minus 13, so the lower the number, the louder. If you had something minus 10, for instance, Spotify will cut that down and it'll just make it less loud, and you've lost a lot of your peaks. So you want to try to get it in the range so the service won't change the loudness for you. So it's minus 13 to minus 15, so I'll shoot for minus 14 right in the middle. And so this is minus 18. So I've got 4 dBs difference. So this next step, I use this limiter. It's a Vladislav Goncharovich limiter. And it's another free one. And so it's 4 dB. So I just put the gain at 4 dBs. Seems like it really follows the LUFS almost exactly with this. And I make my thresholds for the limiting so it doesn't exceed at minus 0.4. I found that instead of going to 0, minus 0.4, it gives a little bit of extra cushion without distorting anything. And then I would go and render again this insert, and that would save what I've done in this next tab. And then here's what the waveform looks like again. And peaks, I'm at limiter left it at the minus 0.4. And the RMS is minus 16.64. There's 0 clips. And then if I'd want to go back and then again verify the actual file with the LUFS, I would do this plugin again. This is just how much time-wise you want to have it analyzed. And this was the second file after the loudness adjustment. You can see it's minus 14.3, so it's very close to that 4 dBs that I use. So I would call that good. And at any time you can, play these. Oops, shit. Anytime you could play these. So that's what I do. And then another thing I like about this DSP Quattro is you can master your whole CD, set up your whole CD, burn your CD. So you can actually I pull in just 3 songs, you pull in your whole CD, and you can see the waveforms, how they are loudness to each other. You can play and listen to them next to each other. Listen to them, right, to see if they perceive sound. You can put in all your text files, CD text that would on the disc, so the actual name of the album, performers, any notes. You can control pauses in between the CDs. You can adjust the gain if you want to. However, I also go back and redo the individual files. And you can actually burn your CD right from this program. have your master, or you can send it out to a digital file. So I guess that's it, and I'll stop sharing the screen and open up any questions again. Hope you like it. Let's see screen share. Stop share. Okay, so are there any questions, or does anybody have any other improvements to this process?